I never thought a simple Craigslist ad would lead me to the most terrifying experience of my life. But here I am, my hands trembling as I type this, hoping that sharing my story might warn others, or perhaps save my own soul from what I've unleashed. My name is Alex, a 28-year-old guy who, until a few weeks ago, was just trying to keep his head above water. I lost my job at a tech startup in a wave of layoffs. And with my savings dwindling and rent looming, I was desperate for a cheaper place to live. That's when I turned to Craigslist, the digital marketplace where deals seem too good to be true, and often are. I spent hours scrolling through the housing section, wading through overpriced apartments and sketchy sublets in neighborhoods I wouldn't dare walk through at night. Then I found it. Cozy 2BR apt in quiet neighborhood, $500 a month for roommate. The price was absurdly low for the area, a safe, upscale part of town where rent usually started at triple that. I figured it was a scam, but desperation makes you do stupid things. I messaged the poster, a woman named Sarah, and we arranged to meet at the apartment the next day. When I arrived, the building surprised me. It was well kept, with a small garden out front and neighbors walking their dogs, chatting pleasantly. Sarah greeted me at the door with a warm smile. She was in her late 20s, with long dark hair and a calm, friendly demeanor. "Hi, you must be Alex," she said, shaking my hand. "I'm Sarah. Come on in." The apartment was perfect, almost too perfect. 2 bedrooms, a shared bathroom, and a small living area with a kitchenette, all furnished with modern decor. Sunlight streamed through large windows, casting a warm glow over the hardwood floors. It felt like a steal. "Why is the rent so low?" I asked, trying to mask my excitement. Sarah hesitated, her smile faltering for a split second. "My last roommate left suddenly, and I've been struggling to find someone new. I'm a nurse, working night shifts, so I'm barely here. I just need someone reliable to split the rent and keep things tidy." Her explanation seemed reasonable, and she came across as genuine. We talked for a bit, and I felt at ease. I agreed to move in the following week and handed over the first month's rent in cash. As I left, a wave of relief washed over me. For the first time in weeks, things were looking up. I had no idea I was walking into a nightmare. The first few days in the apartment were quiet. Sarah was true to her word, often gone for her night shifts, leaving me alone in the cozy space. My room was small but comfortable, with a queen-size bed, a desk, and a closet. I started to settle in, unpacking my few belongings and trying to rebuild my life. But on my 3rd night, I woke to a strange noise. It was a scratching sound, faint but persistent, coming from inside the walls. At first, I thought it might be mice, but as I lay still, it grew more deliberate, like fingernails clawing at wood, desperate to break free. My heart thudded as I got out of bed and knocked on Sarah's door. No answer. She was at work. I decided to investigate alone. Following the sound, I ended up in the living room, where it seemed to emanate from behind a large painting of a serene landscape. I moved the painting aside and found a hairline crack in the drywall, barely visible. Pressing my ear to the wall, I heard the scratching intensify, now accompanied by faint whispers, indistinct but chilling, like voices arguing in a language I couldn't understand. My skin prickled and I backed away, telling myself it was just the building settling. The next morning, I mentioned the noise to Sarah when she returned. Her scrubs wrinkled from a long shift. "Oh, that," she said with a dismissive wave. Old buildings make weird noises, probably just pipes or something. Her casual tone didn't ease my unease. That night, the scratching returned, louder, and I could have sworn I heard my name whispered through the wall. Alex, drawn out and guttural. Sleep eluded me, and by morning, I was determined to dig deeper. I searched the apartment's address online and found disturbing articles. One from 5 years ago reported a tenant who vanished without a trace, their belongings left behind. Another mentioned the building's previous owner, found dead in the basement under mysterious circumstances. My stomach churned as I showed the articles to Sarah. "I don't know anything about that," she said, her face paling. "I've only been here a year." Her eyes darted away, and I sensed she was hiding something. That evening, while Sarah was at work, I explored the building further. The basement door in the hallway was unlocked, leading to a dark, musty space with concrete walls and a dirt floor. My flashlight caught a section of wall that looked newer, as if recently patched. Curiosity overpowered my fear, and I chipped away at the plaster with a screwdriver until I uncovered a hidden door, sealed with boards and nails. Prying it open, I found a small room, no bigger than a closet. The walls were covered in strange symbols, spirals, jagged lines, and words in an unknown script. In the center was an altar, littered with personal items, wallets, watches, photos of smiling faces, all belonging to different people. My breath caught as I recognized one face from the missing tenant article. This wasn't just a creepy room, it was a shrine to victims. I locked the door and fled upstairs, my mind racing. That night, I confronted Sarah. "What's going on here?" I demanded, my voice shaking. "I found that room in the basement. What are you hiding?" Her face crumpled. "You weren't supposed to see that," she whispered. "Please, Alex, forget it. It's for your own safety." "Tell me the truth," I shouted. She sank onto the couch, tears streaming down her face. "The apartment is cursed. The previous tenants, they disappeared. Something lives here. Something evil. It feeds on people, takes them. I've tried to leave, but it won't let me. It makes me post the ad on Craigslist, lures people in. I'm trapped, Alex, and now you are too." Before I could respond, a loud bang echoed from the living room. We rushed in to find the painting on the floor, the crack in the wall, now a gaping hole. Two glowing eyes stared out, unblinking, filled with malice. Panic seized us as the eyes blinked, and a figure began to emerge from the hole. It was humanoid, but grotesque, with elongated limbs, skin like charred paper, and a face that twisted into a mockery of a smile, its teeth jagged and black. The air grew heavy with the stench of decay. Sarah screamed and bolted for the front door, but it wouldn't budge, the lock frozen. I grabbed a kitchen knife, my hands shaking as I faced the creature. It moved with unnatural speed, lunging at Sarah. I swung the knife, but it passed through the thing like smoke. It touched her and she collapsed, convulsing, her screams turning to gurgles as her eyes rolled back. The creature turned to me, its gaze paralyzing. I felt my strength drain, my limbs heavy as if submerged in ice water. The windows and doors were sealed shut, trapping me inside. In desperation, I remembered the hidden room. Maybe something there could stop this thing. I dodged the creature's claw and sprinted to the basement, barricading the door behind me. In the hidden room, I searched the altar frantically and found an old book, its pages brittle and yellowed. It was filled with the same symbols on the walls, alongside incantations in a strange language. The door shuddered as the creature pounded against it, its growls vibrating through the walls. With no other options, I began reading the incantation aloud, stumbling over the unfamiliar words. The symbols on the walls glowed faintly, and the air crackled with energy. The creature's pounding grew frantic, its shrieks piercing my ears. I kept reading, my voice growing stronger despite my fear. The glow intensified, and the creature burst through the door, its form flickering like a dying flame. I shouted the final words, and a blinding light filled the room. The creature let out a wail that shook the walls before dissolving into a cloud of ash, leaving only silence and a foul stench. I collapsed, gasping, believing it was over. But when I returned upstairs, Sarah was gone. No body, no blood, as if she'd never existed. The apartment looked pristine, the hole in the wall sealed, the painting back in place. I knew I had to leave. The front door opened easily now, but outside, the world felt wrong, darker, the air thick with an unnatural chill. As I stepped out, I glanced back and saw the creature's face in the window, its smile wider, more sinister. I ran, found a new place to live, but the nightmare followed. Now, in my new apartment, I hear it again, scratching in the walls, whispering my name. I destroyed the creature, but I fear the ritual bound me to it. It's not gone, it's waiting, and I'm next.